Hello, good evening, and welcome to Newsnight.
News is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Laugh 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across the country. Coming up tonight.
President Mahama condemns assault on JoyNews journalist and a civilian by soldiers, declaring that as a card-bearing member of the GJA, he will not tolerate or oversee any attack on journalists. More shortly, as he unveils plans to bring together the media, GJA and security agencies to reorient security forces on respecting journalists as partners in national development.
Also, minority and majority leaders take shots at each other as Parliament concludes debate on the mid-year budget review, with the minority insisting the current economic gains are completely artificial. We have
While the Bank of Ghana announces fairly tail exchange rates, businesses desperate for foreign currency.
It takes wizardry, economic wizardry, to know that you can use exchange rate alone to pay a lot of your debt.
And in an unprecedented turn of events, all three schools in a single NSMQ Greater Accra contest qualify for the national championship.
That any school that comes our way, we are going to meet them squarely and fairly and beat them hands down.
And in business,
prices of some petroleum products at the pumps set to go up marginally from tomorrow.
In sports, each Ghana Premier League club to receive 1 million Ghana cedis before the football season from the GFA's new broadcasting partnership.
We have the latest of these and many other stories coming up tonight. My name is Kenneth Jesse.
And my name is Pelo Furi.
You can join the conversation by WhatsApping us on 055 11 11 997. Details are up after this. You're welcome back. Let's begin from the House of Legislature, where the minority has staged a walkout during the concluding day of the debate on the mid-year budget review. We understand that the minority were unhappy due to the fact that Cassiel Atoforsin, who is the finance minister, did not show up in Parliament, but rather designated his deputy to come to Parliament. Now, we can now listen to the minority leader, Alexander Fenyo-Markin.
Yes, please. I know that you'll be tempted to debate. Therefore, Honorable Deputy Minister, you know that we have a long way to go in this House. Don't breach trust. Don't breach trust. Don't throw any low blow. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I will yield to the prayer of the leader of the House. But please just be in your diplomatic best and within 2 minutes. Mr. Speaker, and just 2 minutes, do the right thing so that in future when an application is made for you, we will not oppose. You know you have a business here. What actually brought you was this, your business. And we've also agreed to the other paper addendum. So anything negative you do may...
Honourable Minority Leader,
may affect.
I can assure you that the Deputy Finance Minister will not do anything negative.
Mr. Speaker, I just also want to say this to assure my back.
Yes.
That he will do the right thing.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Very well. Before giving the floor to the Deputy Minister for Finance, let me acknowledge the presence of Project Abroad, led by Theophilos Etu Jonah, Regional Coordinator. They are from various countries: Germany, France, USA, UK, and Colombia. They are 15 in numbers. On behalf of the House, I welcome you. May you have a fruitful stay. Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So this happened a while ago on the floor of the House, and of course, thankfully, we have our resident correspondent Kweku Asante joining us on the telephone lines. We understand the Parliament is still in session, but Kweku, kindly give us a breakdown of what led to this.
So, Ken, usually when the debate on either the budget presentation itself or the media budget presentation is concluded by the leadership, the finance minister will be invited to make concluding remarks. In his concluding remarks, he will usually set out to correct what they will usually deem as representation or misrepresentation from the opposition political party. Today, the finance minister himself was not around, and he was represented by his deputy. When Mahama, the leader of the House, concluded, he made an application to the first deputy speaker presiding that the finance minister was unavoidably absent and was represented by his deputy. And you had the minority who said he was not opposed to that request, only that the deputy finance minister should limit himself to thanking the House for the debate and committing to feedbacking his boss on the concerns that have been raised by both political parties. At the time, the deputy minister did agree that that's exactly what he was going to do. But when he went to the days, he had about 6-7 pages printed, and then he started talking, and then said he was setting the record straight on certain comments that have been made. In fact, he picked speaker after speaker from the minority side when they debated the presentation and sought to correct what he deemed misrepresentation. And so he started with Abinal Siasare, went to Gideon Bwako, to Kojo Ponkoma, to Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. And then the minority leader got up again on his feet to challenge that was not the agreement that they had just reached. And so because of that, he was not going to allow.
Right.
But the
speaking of the minority leader, we have him on tape with actually what happened. Let's listen to him.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, my grandpa told me about patience and posterity. No. Under normal circumstances, this should be nothing. But you know, Mr. Speaker, you see, when I am even using the dispatch box, they would raise all manner of things, but it's okay, Mr. Speaker. The mood in this House is one of cooperation. I will not object to
Honorable MP, please get up
at
your place and then address us. No,
you should always remember the evil you do to others would always come and haunt you. But I have no problem.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on 24th of this month, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Kesil Atoforsen, was in this House on the authority of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama to present the mid-year review of the 2025 budget in line with Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, as has been the practice in this House, and in accordance with our standing orders, members have taken turns to express their opinions on the statement presented by my boss. Mr. Speaker, today I count myself the luckiest deputy minister in President Mahama's administration because Ato is the best minister any deputy can wish for. It seldom happens that a minister for finance will yield such an important podium to his deputy. Dr. Atoforsen, God bless you. Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity to thank honorable members for an engaging debate, some made in good faith and others with obvious mischief and misrepresentations. Since our colleagues on the other side were not present to listen to the Minister for Finance at first hand, we may forgive them for the misrepresentation since they may be speaking based on hearsay. However, Mr. Speaker, kindly permit me to correct some of the misrepresentations made by some colleague members. The Honorable Abna Osei Asari stated, and I quote, "If the cedi has appreciated against the US dollar, external interest payments should come down. It has rather increased by 1 billion cedis." Mr. Speaker, I want to state that this assertion is totally incorrect. In fact, Appendix 2C of the media statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion In fact, Appendix 2C of the media statement indicated under external interest payment that out of the 3.97 billion cedis that was programmed to be paid within the first half of the year, 3.7 billion was actually paid, resulting in a savings
Honorable
of
Deputy Minister.
179.
Honorable Deputy Minister, hold it. Yes, Minority Leader. You two come and make.
Mr. Speaker, I want the majority leader to lend support to this. He is a lawyer. I take him by his word. It shouldn't be that somebody is being set up for embarrassment. The man has a prepared speech. I have no problem if we've not closed the debate. We've closed the debate. The application was that you were going to thank us. Colleagues, let's not do this to ourselves. Then when there's a reaction, it's as if somebody is being unreasonable. No, you cannot. Your leader has spoken for 45 minutes. If you had rebuttals, your duty was to give it to him to rebut. You cannot seize this opportunity to say that you are coming to re-argue. No, let's not go there. No, let's not go there. Mr. Speaker, that was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. That was not the understanding. No. Mr. Speaker, no. That was not the understanding. You said he's thanking and taking the concerns on board. Please, don't use, you have about 4 pages. You are now going to re-argue again. No, Mr. Speaker, it's not fair. That was not the understanding. If you are thanking us as courtesy demand, do so. And majority leader, please intervene and get this resolved so that we don't
Minority Leader,
get matters degenerating.
you have made your point.
Oh.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, you know, historically, anytime that we have finished debating, the finance minister concludes, he thanks us, but this is a house of record. This is a house of record. So if the finance minister, hearing the debates, thinks that there is a factual inaccuracy, and he uses an opportunity to thank us, to correct it, there's nothing wrong with that. Because I heard him say that there were some claims made during the debate, and he's now going to correct it. So for the records, he wants to place things in proper perspective. This is the amount that was given, this is the amount that was paid, and this is the amount that was saved. I thought that was what I heard him saying. So he's just correcting some records. Otherwise, in our debate, we would have misinformed the public.
So you had the proceedings in Parliament a while ago. You've had the majority leader, minority leader, and also the Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Ampem-Nyako. Kweku, so at what point, really, did the minority decide to stage the walkout?
So when the majority leader concluded, the Speaker himself made some remarks bringing conclusion to this matter. He insisted that this is not the first time finance ministers have been allowed to make concluding remarks and set out to correct what they deem misrepresentations in points that have been made by members of parliament. The minority leader resumed his seat. The deputy minister continued to a point. But then the NPP MPs got up again. They started shouting, away, 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 trying to get the attention of the speaker to try and rein in the deputy minister because they believed that he was going overboard. But the deputy finance minister continued. In fact, at some point, he started throwing punches and shots, quote and unquote, to the minority leadership as well as former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, at some point referring to him as a driver's mate. We know that was an allusion that was made during the 2024 campaign, with the Vice President at the time himself saying that he was only the driver's mate. And so those points were re-emphasized on the floor. And the minority, knowing that they were not going to get the speaker to stop the deputy finance minister, decided that it was not worth their time sitting through the presentation they simply did not want to listen to. So this is exactly a week ago that the finance minister presented the media budget review, which the minority walked out on. 1 week later, they have walked out on his deputy, who was concluding debate on this presentation.
Kweku Asante, thank you very much. He's our resident correspondent in Parliament. Let's still stay in the House. Pearl, who do we have?
We have Habib Idrisu, who's the first Deputy Minority Chief Whip. Good evening and thank you for your time on Newsnight.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to our listeners.
Really explain to us why you staged the walkout.
Yes, earlier on, we had an understanding that after the presentation of the media budget, we were going to debate it from the day he presented it until yesterday. That is why yesterday you could see that we sat until about 12 a.m. And then today we agreed that the leadership, that's the majority leader and the minority leader, will be concluding. And for that matter, nobody else is supposed to debate today. And then after the minority leader concluded, the majority leader also concluded. So ordinarily, the minister responsible for finance should have just thanked members for participating in the approval of the media budget, and then also take some matters on board if there are policy reforms and other things. When today the minister responsible for finance himself was not here. In fact, it must be on record, or it is on record, that the day he presented the media budget, the finance minister haven't stepped a foot to the house until today. So it was his deputy who came to respond or to thank or conclude on the media budget review. And then he was given the opportunity just to thank us, because the majority leader said he is just going to thank us. But he came with a prepared speech as if he is also coming to debate. And the debate had been concluded. So what was happening was answering to the rules of the House. It was against the parliamentary practice, because you don't come to debate when the leaders conclude their debate. You can only make comments and thank members. So we drew the attention of the speaker to it. The speaker and the majority leader said, oh, he's just going to thank us and conclude. But when he started, he said, I'm here to correct some mischief and other things. Those are the words that the deputy finance minister used. He went ahead to mention speaker about speaker. This person said this. We are no more debating. We have concluded the debate. So the speaker too will not give us a listening ear. There's no need sitting down to listen to whatever another debate when we have already concluded on the debate. So that's the reason why we walk out, because what was happening was not right.
That said, but is that a good reason to stage a walkout, especially when the House is debating an important issue like the mid-year budget review? You think that's a good reason to walk out?
At that point, we were no more debating the mid-year budget review. So if you say it is a good point to walk out when we were debating, we were not debating. We had concluded the debate. But when the majority leader, who is the leader of government business and the leader of the House, when he speaks on it, that means that it's done. We allocated today just for the leaders to conclude the debate. That is why we call it conclusion of the debate. So we were no more debating. So if after the finance minister had finished speaking, there was an opportunity for someone else to speak, it means that we can also be having an opportunity to correct some of the things that he was saying. Equally, as he attempted to say that there was some mischief, misrepresentation from our side. Equally, what he was saying was not accurate. But we will not have an opportunity to respond because the debate has concluded. And that was wrong. And that is why we don't give people opportunity to debate again when the leadership conclude their debate, because there won't be another opportunity. How fair is it that today majority leader, minority leader is concluding, and then another person is raising issues which are questionable.
Habib Kenneth here. I want to find out from you, would you have taken the same entrenched position if it were to be Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen who appeared and exhibited the same actions?
Definitely, Honorable Atuforsen have been a leader of the House. He himself have gotten an opportunity to conclude on a media budget and a budget, and he has seen how the practice is being done. They don't come with a prepared speech. They sit there, they listen to how the leaders conclude, and when the leaders conclude and they also want to, they just thank. Ordinary, go and look at previous presentation. So if it was Dr. Atuforsen and he was also going to take 10 to respond to members, each and everyone on our side, definitely we'll have the same problem with him. Because he started with Abena, he came with Dr. Gideon, Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah, Dr. Mohammed Aminda. So he was more or less responding to the debaters on our side. And we will not have an opportunity to debate again because the debate has been concluded. So it's definitely, if it was the minister responsible for finance, we will ask him because that is not right. And it is an indication that they did not even believe the debate that their side put on, the argument, the advances their side put on. Because every day when we started with 6-6 from each side, 7-7 from each side. Yesterday, that's why we stayed up to midnight so that everybody on both sides could speak. So if you think that you are now coming to rebut, it is an indication that you don't even have trust on your side. Whatever the majority side have said, it means that you were not even convinced about what they have said. So you are now taking it upon yourself to now come and rebut. What was the use of the debate? Over 20 people who have debated on the majority side.
Thank you very much. Habib Idris is the first Deputy Minority Chief Whip there. Let's go back to the trending story about the assault on journalists, and the president himself, John Dramani Mahama, has condemned the assault on JoyNews journalist Carlos Kaloni and another civilian by soldiers, stressing that he is a card-bearing member of the Ghana Journalists Association and will not supervise or tolerate attacks on journalists. While speaking during the swearing-in of the last batch of deputy ministers, he announced plans to convene a meeting between the media, GJA and security agencies to reorient security personnel to treat journalists as partners in national development.
Before I conclude, allow me to condemn in the strongest terms the recent incident involving the manhandling of some journalists by our security personnel. Such conduct is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. I have instructed that the incident be thoroughly investigated and that the officers involved be sanctioned accordingly. As a card-bearing member of the Ghana Journalists Association, I will not preside over a government that abuses or intimidates journalists in the lawful exercise of their duty. A free and responsible press is indispensable to our democracy, and we must all work to protect the media. I'll soon convene a meeting between the heads of the security services and the leadership of the GJA to plan a program to orient our troops to recognize the media not as enemies but as partners in development. I also take this moment to extend my heartfelt condolences to the families of the 15 young people who lost their lives in a tragic accident in Obogu recently in the Ashanti region. This is a stark reminder of why our Big Push program prioritizes the dualization and rehabilitation of our major highways to reduce the spate of accidents.
That's President John Dramani Mahama there.
And of course, today there was a press conference by the Ghana Journalists Association.
Yes, indeed. The president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Jumfo, delivered a passionate speech condemning the attacks.
Exactly.
I mean, giving some figures, staggering figures, that on average there have been 2 attacks every month on journalists in this country, totaling 12 journalist attacks this year alone. That's according to their report. So the situation is quite dire, and you've also heard President John Mahama condemn it as well. But it's now time for business, and George Riafe is here with the latest. George, we understand
it's an interesting one. One will say, I will recall an incident that happened to us. We were covering elections, and we were told that there was an incident where some people were stuffing ballot boxes. We went there. The police came there. They threw tear gas into an enclosed area. I had to run to put my face in the gutter because at a point in time I was kind of dazing, and I had to find a way to get some water from the gutter to wash my face. And that is how bad it is. I mean, we are not saying that journalists are special. Anybody out there deserves some respect from the security personnel when it comes to circumstances like this, and they should be treated well. It's very, very unfortunate, and talking is not enough. We should see the actions being taken. In other countries, this actually could bring a government down.
Indeed, it could.
In Europe, actually.
Yes, it could.
When it comes to journalists being more treated. Our colleague Latif is still struggling.
Yeah.
And you listen to the cock and bull story about the police when they go to court. Yeah. It's very, very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. After several years of the attack by the police themselves, and we've had several of our journalists also being attacked this year.
And every Ghanaian who has been manhandled by security officers.
George, we understand that fuel prices are likely to go up.
We could see some of the products, not all of them, go up marginally from tomorrow. And also the other good news is that interest rates are set to go down by some significant margin from next week. I'll be getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, prices of some petroleum products are expected to go up at the pumps marginally from tomorrow. Now, this is based on the Outlook report that guides the prices of petroleum products at the pumps by some of the oil marketing companies. There is more in this report.
The price of petrol is expected to be increased by almost 3% per litre. However, that of diesel and LPG should be reduced by just under 1% at the pumps. The mixed pricing outlook has been influenced by the stable prices on the international market, as well as a fairly stable cedi over the past 2 weeks. However, some of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business that they could keep prices unchanged at the pumps. They have also argued that the cedi's performance had played a major role in terms of projected values at the pumps. The latest price review is coming after government placed 1 cedi levy on some petroleum products.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, interest rates are expected to go down by some significant margin next Wednesday. Now, that's according to the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, JoyNews. The move has been influenced by the 3% cut in the policy rate by the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Wa has been explaining to Joy Business how this could impact on the cost of credit, as well as that loan that you are servicing in the coming days.
Obviously, the policy rate carries about 40% weight in the variables that determine the Ghana reference rate. So with the reduction in the policy rate, today is 31st. By next Wednesday, which is when we will publish the new Ghana reference rate, we should see quite a good reduction in the GRR for August. If you have an existing facility or like existing loan with the bank and you signed on to a variable rate loan, then any reduction or any movement in the Ghana reference rate would directly impact your servicing capacity, which means with the reduction, then your ability to service is enhanced and you have a little bit of leg room to operate. Unfortunately, there are some loans within the system that are fixed rate loans. Fixed rate loans is more or less like you and the bank are gambling on where the rate is likely to be. You have agreed what I would call the equilibrium between the two of you, and you've signed on to a fixed rate loan. So that is, in spite of whatever happens, if you sign on to a fixed rate loan, then there is not going to be any impact on you.
JoyNews is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks. Now, Standard Bank Africa is projecting the local currency could end the year at around 11 Ghana cedis, 8 pesos. The local currency is currently selling at around 10 Ghana cedis, 45 pesos, based on the rates that some commercial banks are offering. Now, this should mean that the current pressure on the cedi could last for a while, and then this year around that rate. Now, Karishki Jibra is head of Africa Economics at Standard Bank Africa, the parent bank of Stanbic Bank Ghana.
According to the Bank of Ghana, The cedi lost 5.3% in value to the Bank of Ghana. The cedi lost 5.3% in value on the interbank market in the first quarter of 2025. However, the interbank depreciated by nearly 3% to the American greenback in the region.
And we apologize for that wrong sound over there. And let's talk about what is going to happen on PM Express Business Edition. And tonight, we'll be getting some reactions from the business community as well as an economist on the mid-year budget review and, of course, the policy rate cut. The Bank of Ghana has cut the rate by some 3%. How would this impact on the cost of credit? And also, what are the concerns of businesses when it comes to the policy measures the government has rolled out in the mid-year review? We'll be engaging the chief executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, that is Seth Akabwa, and also Professor Charles Aka. He is an economist, to get his thought on what it means for what the policies that government has outlined in the mid-year budget review, and also the policy rate cut, and how that would impact all of these. Wrap up at 9 p.m. on JoyNews and all social media platforms.
That sounds like an interesting conversation that we have to look out for. But thank you very much, George, for bringing us the latest in business. You're still listening to News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. You can be part of the conversation by WhatsApping us on 055-1111-997. Let's bring you more stories tonight, pal.
Well, staff of the Volta River Authority and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, that's NEDCO, have suspended all field operations within the Tamale metropolis and surrounding areas following yet another brutal attack on personnel yesterday. This decision was formalized through a resolution passed at an emergency meeting on Tuesday. Now, joining us via telephone is Engineer William Kwame Asari. He's the chairman of the Senior Staff Association for VRA and NEDCO. We are trying to get him to give us more update on this story. We understand that Kenneth, staff of the Volta River Authority and NEDCO have suspended all field operations within the Tamale metropolis following yet another brutal attack on personnel yesterday. We can now speak to Engineer Kwame Asari. He's the chairman of the Senior Staff Association for VRA and NEDCO. Thank you for your time on Newsnight. Engineer Kwame, thank you for your time on Newsnight. Tell us exactly. Thank you. Very well. Tell us exactly what happened in this recent attack.
Thank you. Just yesterday around this time, I had a distress call from some staff that some of our staff are being brutally assaulted and beaten in Tamale. It turns out that you know Tamale very well. Where our area office is just a turn from the Bukena Palace. These were men who had gone out to work to resolve one transformer issue or the other, and they were bringing the vehicles back to the office. These youth stopped them, threw them out of the vehicle, started beating them, clubbing them with sticks and pistols. In fact, to the extent that one of the driver's knees, they have knocked the knees and the driver cannot stand on the seat. 3 of our vehicles were seized following the incident, and they drove and parked them at the Chief Palace. So we had to call police for reinforcement to come and protect our office. We made a police complaint. They gave us medical form, and our staff went to hospital to seek medical attention. Now, this is not the first time. Anytime the matter comes out, stakeholders will come to staff. Oh, police is investigating. You go to work. The issue will be resolved. And nothing is resolved. It appears that the Ghanaian people and Tamale are watching on and waiting for the youth of Tamale to kill a staff in VRA and NEDCO. Life is only one, my sister. And we will not wait for that to happen. So when they are attacking us and seizing our vehicles and beating us, this morning the staff in Tamale had an emergency meeting and resolved that for the fear of their dear life, they are unable to go out and do any work. So we are expecting the Ghana Police Service to make some arrests, my sister, because you just can't drive a car and go and park it at the Chief Palace. I mean, you can't just drive a car. So we expect that the police service will go to the palace and ask them why they want to kill NEDCO staff. Because power is a service to the communities. We deliver service. You want power, your transformer has a problem, you don't have power, we come and serve you. So what is our crime that you want to kill NEDCO staff? My sister, as you speak now, staff of NEDCO are fleeing Tamale. Some are fleeing to Techiman, some are fleeing to some are fleeing to Bolga for fear of their dear lives. Why? What is our crime?
Of course, I'm sure you've reported this incident to your management. What has been the response?
We have, as enjoined by the Labour Act, we have written to our management informing them of our actions. And our management has acknowledged receipt of the letter. We await their formal response to the letter and what steps they are taking to address our concerns.
You heard the chairman of the Senior Staff Association of VRA and NEDCO, Engineer William Kwame Asari. Thank you so much for your time on Newsnight.
And the Ministry of Energy, of course, wants to respond to this. And Richmond Roxon is the spokesperson and head of communication at the Energy Ministry. Richmond, thank you very much for your time. I believe this has come to your attention. And if it has, what are you doing about it as a ministry?
Good evening to you. And good evening to your cherished listeners. And let me say good evening to Mr. William as well. Yes, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition has taken notice of the withdrawal of service by senior staff of VRA and also NEDCO in Tamale and its environs. The Ministry is calling for calm. We are encouraging the staff of VRA and NEDCO, as well as the residents of Tamale and its environs, to be calm, and that the Ministry will take steps to ensure that this matter is resolved amicably. It's unfortunate that persons who are engaging in the line of duty will be attacked. That is not something we encourage at the Ministry, and we'll continue to engage the security services to ensure that this matter is dealt with. The substantive Minister for Energy, that's Honorable Chinapo, has been on short leave. The Minister supervising the Ministry of Energy now is Dr. Arthur Forson, that's the Finance Ministry. We'll brief him immediately. We'll continue to engage stakeholders. We've engaged the management of VRA. We're engaging the management of NEDCO as well and the senior staff to ensure that this matter is dealt with the speed of light. We don't want the energy security to be threatened.
Okay.
As they stay off work, what it will mean is that there's a potential of power disruption or supply of power, and we don't want that to happen to the people of Tamale and its environs. So we ask them that they should cooperate with the staff of NEDCO. That tax must come to an end, and we should give them space to do their work. We engage the security services as well to ensure that this does not happen again.
Richmond, they've indicated that this is not the first time they have come under attack. I mean, and you've also admitted that it's likely to affect the operations of NEDCO in the northern region. Why should they trust the words of the ministry this time, since it is not the first time this is occurring?
The difference is that this time the ministry has taken charge of the matter, and the ministry is engaging the security services at the very top level, including the Ministry of Interior, the IGP, and the National Security, to ensure that this does not happen.
Richmond Roxon, thank you very much. He's the spokesperson and head of communication at the Energy Ministry. Away from that, though, just yesterday, Paul, you spoke to TV host Paul Adomotri, who did indicate that he's been invited to the office of the special prosecutor. We understand that he submitted himself there today, and we can now speak to our reporter there, Pel.
Of course, we can now speak to Adom FM's Kojo Mensah Prichim. We understand we don't have Adom Mensah, Kojo and Prichim, and the story is that, as you may be aware, the office of the special prosecutor summoned Paul Adomotri, that's the former board chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited and host of Metro TV's Good Evening Ghana, to appear before it for questioning in connection with a corruption investigation, and the broadcaster honored the invitation this afternoon. Yesterday, when we spoke to him, he indicated that he'd be there at 3 p.m. today.
Yes, and of course, I mean, he did a broadcast of about 17 minutes this morning.
A special edition.
Exactly, detailing his side of the story and saying that he's going to appear there at 3 p.m. as stipulated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And of course, we'll be bringing our listeners exclusive details of the outcome of that particular meeting there. I mean, he explained that he is a board chairman, or he was a board chairman of the Ghana Airport Company Limited at that time, and this was a management level decision that he knew nothing about when the contract was signed, and he indicated that the Ghana Airport Company Limited paid 0 cedis in this particular contract. So, of course, we'll be updating our listeners on the outcome of this particular incident there. And, of course, let's refresh the minds of our listeners and listen to Paul Adomotri today.
By the managing director on 4th of December, 4 days or 3 days to election. And I said, well, okay, I don't know. I didn't know. This conversation is about 2 weeks ago. I didn't know whether the contract has been signed. I didn't find out whether the contract has been signed because it's not necessary. The board has finished its work. Whatever management does, if the management need the board again, they'll come back to the board. If there's a new board, management will come back to the new board and say, the old board did this. This is the problem we have, so resolve it. When the management is doing contracts, they are doing their PPA contracts under the law, they don't come to the board. They only come to the board when the threshold is beyond. And now the Kisi Ajabe and the OSP are calling people at the airport company. We've heard all kinds of things, telling them that, did board chairman tell you to do this? Are you sure it's not board chairman who told you to do this? Very bizarre interviews that they've had over this matter. Everybody goes and they tell them, did you know the board chairman? Did the board? And they come out telling their lawyers that, we don't understand. Why are they talking about board chairman? They've had conversations with the managing director. They've had conversations with most of the managers. They've seen the board minutes. Manasseh Azuri has seen the board minutes. Letters that have been written about this issue from the company to the management. It is Manasseh Azuri who tells me. But anyway, the OSP insists that we have to come there today at 3 o'clock. Every lawyer is telling me, look, they want you to come at 3 o'clock and then they will detain you. They may arrest you. They will say, go and bring this. They will say bail. And one lawyer told me that how much is the money involved in that? I said, there's no money involved. And this is a pure witch hunt from Kisi Ajabe. But anyway, Kisi Ajabe says we cannot postpone it. We have to come to his office today. So we are going to his office today to see it, to listen to him.
So that was Paul Adomotri earlier today on Metro TV, detailing his side of the story. And of course, we have an update from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which says that it has interviewed and formally charged the former board chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Paul Adomotri, and 2 others. However, Mr. Adomotri has so far been unable to meet his bail conditions. They say that he is required to present 2 landed properties of no specific value registered in his name. However, he has informed the OSP that he does not own landed property in Ghana. As a result, he remains in custody until the bail terms are satisfied. Now, the 2 other persons are Ochre Kwame Bafo Ewua, who is the group executive of the commercial services of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, and Albert Ejay Lai, who is the CEO of DevNest System. Now, it says that Mr. Adomotri is under investigation in connection with a revenue assurance contract between the Ghana Airport Company Limited and a private firm owned by the proprietor of Strategic Mobilization Limited Ghana SML. And the OSP says it is examining possible procurement breaches, including a sole-sourced contract awarded to a company other than the approved one by the Ghana Airport Company Limited. So this is a developing story that is just coming through, news just coming in. Is what we've updated you that the Paul Adomotri, host of Good Evening Ghana, is still in the custody of the Office of the Special Prosecutor because he has failed to meet his bail conditions. We will be updating our listeners in subsequent bulletins. But it's now time for sports, and Daniel is here with the latest. Daniel?
Yeah, the Ghana Football Association President Ketu Kreku has announced a minimum of 1 million Ghana cedis to be paid to Premier League clubs ahead of the 2025-26 football season. This follows a new broadcast partnership between the country's football governing body, the government, through the Chief of Staff Julius Debra, and rights holders at Disa Productions. The deal was officially launched in Accra earlier today.
As part of our new approach and through this unique partnership with Adisa Productions, each one of our GPL clubs will, before the start of the league season, receive the amount of 1 million Ghana cedis each. And this will be made possible through the new partnership. This will be our minimum payment for each of our GPL clubs under this new model. It is the firm commitment by the Football Association, by Adisa Productions, and by the government, represented here by our Chief of Staff, to ensure that Ghana football becomes what it's supposed to be.
Your GFA President Ketu Kreku speaking there. That's all for sports. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for bringing us the latest in sports there. And time now for NSMQ. History unfolded at the 2025 Greater Accra Regional Qualifiers of the National Science and Maths Quiz as Laboni Senior High School, Accra Girls Senior High School, and St. Mary's Senior High School all defied the odds to secure spots at the National Championship, marking a rare triple qualification in a single contest. Although Laboni Senior High School emerged as the official winner, all three schools crossed the 40-point threshold, turning the fierce academic battle into a collective triumph.
I'm very much exhilarated because before we got here, we just knew the victory was ours. They just had to manifest it. And then I'll leave you with this. What God has to say in the through. No man, nobody.
We are going to work diligently. We are going to do our very best to make sure that any school that comes our way, we are going to meet them squarely and fairly and beat them hands down.
We are going to work on ourselves and we'll make sure that next time we'll come bigger and harder and we'll win every contest.
It's been a pleasure coming your way tonight. This has been News Night. My name is Kenneth Jesse.
And my name is Pelo Furi.
And after this, today on Personality Profile with Lexus Bill, we're playing back an interesting conversation with Nana Ekuya Owusu, who is the founder of Awawa 2. Enjoy.